Okay, well, welcome to the Pacifist podcast. Today we've got Mushu. Beautiful. We've got Jeeves lurking down below. And maybe Rambo. Sometimes he dips in, sometimes he dips out, but we know he's not going to be here for the majority of this one. And instead of doing what we had planned, which is the paranormal science, I think that's what I think we're edging towards calling it that.
I don't know what else to call it, so we've yeah, it's good as
paranormal science. We're going to hold off on that one because Jeeves wants Jeeves is down there. He don't want to do nothing. Zach does actually want to take part in that one. He's got some actual opinions as opposed to just rage quitting when we talk about Harry Potter, Star Wars, or sci-fi
or horror.
We're going to instead deal with some of the amazing response that you guys have posted with regards to your own personal ghost stories. Thank you, all of you, for all of the comments that you've put up there. There are some monster ones that are super long. So settle down, get yourself a cup of tea, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, quite.
Quite.
I have to say as well, I was thinking about this when you suggested it, and I was like, oh God, because I don't want it to come across as I'm just debunking everything, or I'm just sort of like foo-fooing every idea, because that's how it's going to come across. And then I thought, like, I don't really care that much.
Foo-fooing?
Foo-fooing.
What's foo-foo?
It's what you say when you can't remember the word for like brushing ideas aside, that sort of thing.
Oh, well, do you know what I've come to notice from all of this is that not many blokes have had any kind of paranormal experiences. I mean, but it's seemingly, well, we've got one. I have contacted quite a few people over the last week or so, people who, seem to be spiritual. Would that be the right word?
I don't think that was the word you used earlier, but yeah, we'll go with spiritual. No,
yeah,
spiritual. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, well, been contacting people who I think might be into ghosts and stuff, and a surprisingly large number of people have had genuine weird experiences and have shared them with us. So be kind, you fuckers. Apart from the blokes, every bloke that I messaged and was like, "Hey, do you believe in ghosts? Have you had any experience?" We're like, "No, fuck off, dickhead." That's paraphrasing.
Yeah. I think there is a correlation between sort of emotion and sort of spiritualism, though, and I think the more emotional a person is, the more likely they are to be spiritual, and that's possibly a reason why, because blokes have been taught from sort of very young age to suppress their emotions and all that sort of thing. So even if they do have experiences, they're probably less likely to want to share them.
Well, that could be, or it could just be that blokes are just fucking closed books and there's nothing to us other than, eating, drinking, shagging and sleeping.
To be fair, we probably missed half of them. It's like just on the PlayStation or something, full body apparition of a headless man or something in the living room.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't walk in front of the screen, they can get away with anything, can't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jeeves, there was a comment on there from actually the biggest comment of this one. Bex Barker, she was desperate to know what your ghostly experience was, but since we recorded that podcast, we found out, and we're not telling you because it's personal to Jeeves, and he's allowed to have.
And it breaks several internet laws. So yeah, there's no way we can ever release that story now.
Not just internet laws, legal laws as well. So unfortunately, we won't be divulging that information. You have to appeal to his better nature. I don't know how to do that. It's not through chocolate, that's for sure.
I don't think it exists.
No?
Subscribe to my OnlyFans page.
Don't.
Oh yeah, he talks about it all the time on that, but you've got to endure him poking his belly button. Which,
God.
isn't for me. Although, admittedly, I did get away with not actually having to do that. So, shall we kick this off? I've had to screenshot all of these just for ease, really. Where do we go? Right, I've got one here. It's not too long. I'm just going to read it out. I probably should have proofread it. So we'll find out once I've read it if what's going on. All right?
I'm sure we'll find out as you're reading it.
Well, we'll probably find out as I'm reading it that I can't actually read out loud very well. There's a big flaw in this kind of in this kind of thing. When I read stuff out normally, it's just bullet points in real dark writing, not lovely essays on my phone. Anywho, Danielle Rogers wrote on our Facebook page of the amazing Uncle Sam with my face on it. Love that, by the way. That proper made me chuckle.
Mildly disturbing.
Yeah, that was fucking quality. Anyway, guys, so when I moved into my flat with Aaron, that's her fiance, after a while, he would keep saying to me that he would see the back end of a cat just sauntering around.
Just the back end?
Right, the back end. Yeah, just the back end of a cat sauntering around. Okay. Didn't think anything of it and just thought maybe he's going mad. That's a different conversation. It's literally what it says. This is brilliantly written. Thank you, Daniel. But one day I saw it, and then it would make regular appearances. She gets pissed off and disappears for a while if my mum comes around with the dogs. So she's being haunted by a cat then?
Potentially.
Okay, anywho, there's more.
Not by a whole cat, by the sound of it, just by the arse.
just the arse end of a cat. Oh, that's unfortunate. The top end's definitely the best bit of a cat.
That's the bit that keeps the arse end clean, isn't it?
Yeah, well, not in my cat's case. Fucking dirty cunt. Sat in the front room one day, and the chair I was sat in, could see down the hallway, which is a large L-shaped. I've looked up to see a man poking his head round the wall. Oh, that would fuck me up.
Yeah, that's where I'd be out.
I've jumped up straight away and shouted for Aaron because I thought somebody had walked into the flat. But he disappeared, and there's no way he would have got out of the flat without... Oh, there's Seymour here. Oh, which I can't see because I'm pressing on a fucking photo. Shit. Oh, God. Give me a second.
Yeah, meanwhile,
No, I've got it.
Who's Seymour?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Why can't she get out of the flat without Seymour?
Okay, anyway, where we go. I shouted for Aaron because I thought somebody had walked into the flat, but he disappeared and there was no way he could have got out of the flat without us hearing. I was led in bed before, and Aaron is in the front room, and someone was led there with his hand flat on my back and said my name twice. Aaron doesn't call me my name, and when I rolled over and called him, he was still in the front room. Have I mentioned I live in a converted workhouse? It also says I've been on a couple of ghost hunts and where some bits have happened. If you want some more stories, let me know. I probably should have replied to that with yes, let me know, but...
Well, one would think, wouldn't they?
I mean, it sounds like she's super fucking haunted by the arse end of a cat, creepy men just poking their head round the corners, and then people touching you up in your sleep, which I did mention in the first podcast.
Yeah.
Ghosty, sexy stories. What do you think of that, then?
Well, there's so much. I mean, it's always difficult to dispute when people have seen things or felt things with their own sort of eyes and senses, if you know what I mean. You know, all the external stuff that happens can normally be explained away.
Or like a rocking chair or a cupboard. Yeah,
that
okay.
sort of thing. Interestingly, none of what she really mentioned was that sort of thing. It was all very personal sort of stuff, if you know what I mean. It's stuff she's witnessed herself.
That's weird though, the cat one. I mean, I've never heard of anyone being like well, although she did say, what was the actual wording she said there? He'd say he would see the back end of a cat just sauntering around. I mean, I suppose that could just be like a black blur, couldn't it?
Yeah, or does she mean he keeps seeing it as it's walking through a door or something like that, and just sees the arse end disappear around the corner?
Well, I don't really know. I should probably message and find out more. But I mean,
But
either way, that's still 3 things in one place. That's fucking. Woo!
yeah, but then
I mean, and he's seeing.
there's schools of thought which go along sort of ley lines and sort of spiritual hubs where places where energy is more prevalent and stuff like that. And then there's the school of thought which Jesus touched on when we were talking about all this sort of stuff, which is places where there's a lot of trauma. Oh, don't do the touchy hands. No, don't touch me there.
Yeah.
No,
Where did he touch you? Yeah, anywhere but in the square. Well, what's a workhouse? Is that one of those places where they used to send poor people?
Yeah, I think so. Naughty kids and stuff like that. And one of those places where you basically work until you're dead.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a shithole. Okay. Yeah, I suppose they probably were in cats there to keep the mice down, didn't they? Those Victorians, they knew how to do it.
Yeah.
No social security. If you can strip rope for us, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I would say is, especially with conversions and stuff, is where they put like a lot of new electrics in, and they have to do crazy things with the electrics to make them fit around the buildings, and it's quite a common thing for old buildings to which have been renovated to end up with fear cages, which is when you have
like EMF in it.
Yeah, it's like all goes on EMF, and it's proven to affect the way your brain sparks and all that sort of thing.
Okay, well, let's take it as if I don't understand what a fear cage is, and I don't know what EMF is. Do you want to explain that so everyone will understand? Jeep looks like he's got something to say. Let him talk.
The EMF is all to do with the electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
Stuff like that, which can mess with receptors in the brain and stuff like that, because obviously it's electrical energy, and that's where a lot of they say a lot of the interference comes with playing tricks on your mind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, because they've got little machines that can read EMF energy.
Yeah, I know of them.
They go into places, and a lot of places where things have been seen or felt or experienced, there's usually a high EMF reading.
Okay,
usually from like having old cabling next to new cabling and stuff like that, because that is messing with the electromagnetic fields of things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I presume it's when you wrap copper wire around an iron peg, it makes a battery. It makes a magnet, doesn't it? So I assume it's the same as that sort of. Now,
it's kind of like
fear cages you mentioned, is that just a Faraday cage?
I was just about to say it's very much like a Faraday cage. Basically, you can create these things by, if you walk into a room and there's an electrical panel on one side, there's an electrical device on the other side, and something on the wall in front of you which is electric. You've got 3 things giving off at their own particular EMF fields.
Sorry, walkies. What a shit dog. Sorry, carry on.
You know,
you completely stumped Andy.
Fucking Stephen Hawking's never had to deal with this shit.
I want to go for a walk. Well, fucking dog turns up. That's what you do, innit? You shout walkies and see if it's up for it.
It's not up for it. It's Jesus's dog. It probably just wants to hang itself.
Oh, well, I thought it might be a ghost, and then I saw it was the front end, not the back end, so I was confused. Anyway, sorry, go back to Faraday cages. My bad.
Yeah, so you've got several potentially devices giving off EMF fields, all of which sort of overwhelm your senses or whatever, and can, you know, it can affect people different ways. It certainly make you feel uneasy, stuff like that. It's like slight inclinations on the floor, even if they're too slight for the eye. Your sense of balance, your inner ear can pick them up, and if the eye is telling you something's straight and your inner ear is telling you it's not straight, it confuses the brain.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel uneasy and stuff
luckily,
like that.
In my place, my brain tells me my place is wonky because it's definitely pissed. But I know it's pissed.
Hotels actually used that to stop people running up and down the corridors by having the certain patterns on the floor. So if you run down, it makes you uneasy and unbalanced, so you fall over.
Huh,
So
that's cool.
It stops you from running.
That's actually all I want to do now is run down a hotel hallway.
I think it's like it gives you a sense of like seasickness as well, motion sick.
Oh,
Wow,
that's amazing. Every hotel I go from for the rest of my life, I'm running just to see what happens.
Not
Hell
every
yeah.
hotel has it, but if you look at it and it's like got wavy floors, almost like a 3D pattern on the floor.
Yeah.
Then I can guarantee if you run down it, you are going to get either feel sick or fall over.
I'm doing it.
Truth be told, I feel sick if I run any time, but I mean, that's because I'm all full of chocolate.
I've had a bit too much pie.
That's amazing, Jeeves. I did not know that. Thank you.
Well, there you go. I mean, there you have a perfect example of how susceptible the human brain is to outside influence. You know, and the thing with the full body apparitions and stuff like that, which in non-paranormal terms is when you see a whole entity, like head, arms, legs, and whatever.
You couldn't have gone head, shoulders, knees, and toes on that one, then, no?
No, I could have, but I resisted the temptation. I didn't want to get Jeeves dancing. So the problem with trying to debunk them is you're basically calling someone out as a liar.
Yeah.
Which I would never do. If I've spoken to people that believe they've seen full-bodied entities and they fucking genuinely believe it, and who am I to say that they're wrong? Because I've seen no proof of the paranormal, it doesn't mean I haven't seen. It doesn't mean I'm willing to completely discount it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, this is why I put the call to arms out by everybody.
Yeah.
Because none of us had any experiences. I mean, apart from Jeeves and his secret
one. What I would say though, on that, is that whilst we can't prove that full-bodied apparitions are real, what we can prove is real is hallucinations.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Because I've not always been the angel that I am. When I was younger, I sort of dabbled in hallucinogens, and I know I know you can see stuff that's not there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying drug related, but there's a lot of things which can trick the brain into thinking it's seeing something when it's not necessarily.
Like sleep deprivation.
Yeah. I was going to say about that comment where she was lying in bed. Had she just woken up? Because there's a distinct threshold between waking up and sort of being asleep and being awake, where the brain. They
call that lucid dreaming. Is that right? Is it?
It's a form of sleep paralysis.
Okay.
Without the actual, well, obviously sometimes it's with the paralysis, but you can get it without the paralysis, where you wake up and your brain is still going overdrive with the imagination, creating dreams and stuff, and it hasn't really caught up with the fact that you're awake. And a lot of the time, people will see things and sort of witness things that way.
You see, that kind of makes me think, because although I've not woken up and I've thought I've seen ghosts or anything like that, there have been many times where I've woken up for it. Oh God, I think it just makes me seem really boring. But there's been many times I've woken up on a Sunday morning thinking it's a Monday morning and that I'm late for work. I mean, that could just be routine. But I mean, if you're talking about it in I'm half asleep, some people see things. I'm literally seeing the world as a different day. I mean, it's definitely not the same in any way, shape, or form, other than, shit, something isn't real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've done that before, haven't I, Andy?
What's that? Oh, yeah. I get a phone call, fucking message from Jeeves. No, was it a phone call or a message? I can't remember now.
I phoned you up.
That's it, yeah. 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like having a lovely sleep. He calls me up. He's like, mate, I'm so sorry. I've overslept. I'm on my way into work now. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm really sorry. I've overslept. I'm like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, mate. He's like, what? Like, do you think it's 6 in the evening? He's like, oh, for fuck's sake. What is that with you? So he actually woke me up to tell me that he was like he'd overslept and he was 6 hours early or 12 hours early for his shift. Fucking
That's what time the boy gets in.
Oh, what a plank.
Oh, goodness me. I still think it's interesting. I mean, that's quite a lot of different styles of things for one place, though, isn't it? You know, the back end of a cat that seems to be affected by the presence of a dog. Its natural enemy, if you will. Well, maybe it's a cat that was killed.
We touched upon the animals a little while ago, didn't we, in the previous episode when we were talking about how susceptible they are. I mean, it only makes sense that they still carry that over if there is a spirit realm or whatever, that it goes both ways.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, see, animals are the thing that make me believe the most, because they do see some weird, I say they see some weird shit. They behave in very strange ways at times, like uncontrollable. You said about the big old police dogs when you were going down that alleyway in London. I've seen, you know, I love cats. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Any opportunity to have a cat, I've had a cat. And they do some creepy shit, which I'm not sure if it's just because cats are proper smart and they're like, I'm gonna fuck with this human, watch this. Watch this. 3, 2, 1, just fucking all over the place. It's, yeah. I don't know, it's just that sort of thing, you know, because they are inherently jerks. But you know, when a dog just starts whimpering and whining, when they say about like a dog knowing that someone's just about to have an epileptic fit. Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you, Jeeves. Got the word just out before me. Yeah, I assume that's to do with pheromones, and they can smell it, and they've experienced it before, and they're like, "Oh shit, that smell means bad things." The big truck with the ambulance is going to come, and everyone's going to be a little bit panicked, and everyone's, you know, not going to smell good. But there's definitely something.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Like, animals definitely sort of bring out the creep factor in it all. There's nothing worse than when an animal's just like, you know,
with the human brain is the whole cat not being happy around a dog is, we know that in our brains, we know cats and dogs don't get along. So you could envisage that yourself in your head. It's like the Mandela effect.
Yeah, I mean,
I love the Mandela effect.
Like the whole thing where everyone believes that E.T. says E.T. phone home, but he actually says home phone.
Does this mean they're coming?
Yes. E.T. phone home. E.T. phone home.
Does he?
Yeah, in the film, apparently that's what he actually says.
Okay.
Well, everyone's now scrambling for their copy of E.T.
Can we talk about the Mandela effect? Because I think some examples of this in my life. Do you know about it?
Please do. Pretend I don't.
Okay, right. So the Mandela effect it's based on Nelson Mandela, that people thought he was dead, but he wasn't. He was in prison. But the people who thought he was dead were adamant that he was dead. And obviously he isn't. So it's the idea that the world isn't, the world sometimes changes, and it's the small little things that changes, and some people know about it and some people don't. For instance, the Statue of Liberty. You apparently can't walk around the top of the Statue of Liberty, yet there are photos of people walking around the Statue of Liberty and first-hand accounts of people who have walked around the Statue of Liberty at the top.
Right.
It's one of those things, but you'll look it up online and it'll be like, no, nobody's been allowed up the Statue of Liberty for ages, and then you see people there with their smartphones taking pictures of it. So it's a kind of like a parallel world sort of thing.
Yeah.
But my personal example of it is, there's this guy at work. He's lovely. You know, when you go to work in a really big place, you find people for different things. Well, every time something comes through for work that's potentially bullshit or confusing, I have a little chat with him. I'm just like, what the fuck does this mean? And he's like, it's bullshit, chuck it away. I'm like, great, that's all I need to know. Anyway, he has either 3 or 4 daughters.
Right.
They're not daughters, they're sons. I've chatted to him about his daughters for the last 15 years, And the other day, I was just like, "Oh, how are you girls? You haven't mentioned him in a little while." He's like, "I ain't got girls, Sam. I've got sons." I was like, "Ah, you're talking shit. You've told me about your daughters loads of times." Because I'm like, "No wonder you're so small. 4 daughters. You must be exhausted." And he's like, "No, I've got boys." So you're like, I'd convinced myself and had conversations based on the fact that he had 3 or 4 daughters.
Oh, I guess
and no, it turns out that he's got sons.
Yeah.
But I can't prove that he told me they were daughters. And obviously he knows if he's got fucking sons. So obviously I'm missing on this. But that's sort of basis of the Mandela effect.
Okay, that's quite interesting, that, yeah.
Yeah, but have you got any examples of that happening to you in your life? Where you could swear blind that, your work colleague has 4 daughters and it turns out that they're sons?
Actually, when I was very young, it might be along those lines. I buried a box full of chalk. Because I wanted to keep it. I don't know why the fuck I buried it, but I thought it'd be clever. So I buried a Tupperware full of chalk in the garden, and I waited all winter, and then I dug it up after winter. I dug up the spot, and there was no Tupperware there. And it turns out my mum had put it in the attic, right? But she was like, "Oh no, I just picked it up from the garage and put it in the attic." But
you remember burying?
But I remember burying it. I'm sure I buried it.
See, yeah, I would say that that's the Mandela effect, because you've convinced yourself of one thing, but the outcome is a totally different thing. It's interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah, because I must have convinced myself of that. I must have had a dream or something where I buried it, and over time just reinforced the dream rather than what actually happened or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting you bring that up.
Yeah, what about you, James? What are you doing anyway? Are you eating? Are you having like a pasta supper?
No, I probably have, but I can't remember them.
Oh. Fucking brilliant. Why is he here?
Google.
Oh yeah, Google shit, doesn't he? Oh dear.
I'm just a guy in the background. Leave me alone.
Yeah, apparently so.
There is that. There's also what you got to consider, and this is something that, again, it's going to sound like I'm throwing doubt upon everything that I've read there, or that we've read. It's the fact that I would say, without almost 100% of ghost stories or ghostly occurrences happen to people that believe in ghosts.
Agreed.
No, that's probably not fair, actually. Probably about 98%, because you do hear the odd story of people that don't believe in ghosts and then suddenly they do after witnessing it, but they're very few and far between.
I got a really annoying one. My friend, I messaged somebody earlier in a group chat. I was just like, any of you got any ghosty or paranormal experiences, or more importantly, do you believe in ghosts? And one of them, about 5 minutes before we were due to start recording this, was like, "Oh, when shall I call you?" And I was like, "What do you mean, when should you call me?" It's like, "Oh, I'll tell you about my experience." And I was like, "Oh, don't, just send it as a message, because I'm not going to be able to get it right now. I can't sit on the phone and chat to you for however long it'll take." But yeah, she definitely doesn't believe in ghosts, but has experienced paranormal things.
See, that's interesting. So, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'll find out for the next one, because obviously we'll be doing one more, and we can briefly touch upon it at the start of the next one. Because she's definitely credible. I've mentioned her before, actually, but I can't remember why I mentioned her. It's Charmaine. No, it would have come up for something, but I genuinely can't remember what it was. But yeah, she'd be fairly credible. I would never have assumed she believed in ghosts in any way, shape, or forms, but she did say she's had some weird paranormal experience in her lifetime.
That'd be interesting to hear that.
Interesting. Yeah, it will. But yeah, she didn't write it, which is irritating.
Yeah.
Right, well, should we move on to the next one on our Facebook page?
Yeah.
Our Facebook page, incidentally, the Pacifist Podcast, and it's very easy to find, and all likes are well received.
And needed.
Needed?
Please.
Please.
Pretty please.
Please. Right, let me just load this back up because I've just fucking pressed the button. I got fat fingers. Right, Louise Barnard. I actually worked with this lady. She said a few years ago, me and my husband. Oh, incidentally, her husband, Mushi, just like you, a butcher.
Well, I'm not a butcher anymore, mate. I don't. You know, I'm sure a lot's changed since my day.
Is there like a special handshake? Do you have a particular wave? I don't know. He might see it. We can.
I'm not going to show you, am I? You cock. You're not a butcher.
No, but you're not showing me. You're doing it to him.
Yeah, I know, but you'll see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's us eating lots of sausages. Ah.
Is that why you keep doing it? Is that how you make the sausages?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Anyway, let's read this back out. Louise Barnard. A few years ago, me and my husband rented a flat that was actually an old coach house that was divided into 4 flats. I hit a real low in life and miscarried a few pregnancies. Oh, that's sad. They say when your body is at low, your senses are open to see spirits. I started seeing things. Sorry, I've pre-read this one. She did say she rushed this, so it's not very well written. And as you know, I struggle to read things as a rule. I started seeing things and people in my flat. I saw a little girl in my kitchen and a man walked through my front door carrying a dead pig before Warren worked as a butcher. Oh, we got his name for you, Mushu.
Yay.
Warren. Okay. And I see spiders and cats. Carrying a dead pig and I see spiders and cats. That's creepy. That's the second reference of cats, incidentally. Interesting. I would go completely cold and all my hairs would stand on end. And sometimes I didn't even tell Warren when I saw things. And he would just know by the goosebumps that would go down my arms. Oh, that'd be creepy, wouldn't it? That'd be like when your cat does something freaky when your missus starts doing it.
Yeah.
Like, are you looking at fucking dead people again? Oh, yeah, don't like that. Don't like that at all. Anyway, there's more. This went on for ages, and I was starting to feel scared. One day, I was home alone, and a man was at my bay window, and I completely shit myself, crawled into the hall so he wouldn't see me. As I went to call Warren to tell him, I had a message from his dad to say he'd sent a window cleaner round.
Brilliant.
That's fucking great. Well, that's that one explained. Oh. Fucking brilliant. Anywho, there's still more. It got to the point I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Oh, that's less funny, but still. The window cleaner bit did make me chuckle. All the things I saw were so clear. I started to worry and then decided to go to the doctors. On the record to the doctor, he referred me to the hospital to see a neurologist to see if there was anything medically wrong with me. Off the record, he asked if he could send someone round from his local church. I'm not religious in the slightest, but I needed to do something, anything. So at the hospital, they said there was nothing really wrong and said it could be down to being overtired and being overtired hallucinations. And they gave it a medical term. That's not included. But in the meantime, 2 ladies came round from my doctor's church. The first thing they did was put a Bible down on the sofa and my cat jumped on it straight away and started purring. That's creepy, isn't it? I mean, cats do like... Yeah, cats do like boxes and shit, but that's a bit creepy. I was freaked out by this straight away and they just started carrying on. They carried on talking. They said they will walk around the flat and use some holy oil. I let them get on with it and never really said anything about where or what I'd seen. And when they finished doing what they were doing, they told me the exact rooms I had seen things in. And, oh, hang on, let me just make sure I'm reading that right. When they'd finished what they did, they told me the exact rooms I'd seen things in, yeah? And they had put holy oil on the doors. After they left, I never saw a thing after that day. Having owned a cafe around the corner from my flat, I got chatting to a lady who lived over the road from the cafe. She lived in the same flat as me, she lived in the same flat as me, but she lived about I don't know what that means. And she said, oh, it must have been, okay, she lived in the same flat as me, but moved out. And she said things moved and dropped off of sides, and she would hear strange noises and lots of other weird things. She left because she was so scared. The one thing the church people did say is that this happened to me because I was so low in my life, and that I'd opened up my senses by messing with black magic, and been told and have had been to see mediums before, and they told me to stay away from them. They bring the spirits in and they get trapped. True story. And this is where she's written, I wrote this in a hurry, so please feel to correct my spelling and punctuation. That's a lot, though, isn't it? That's there's quite a lot in that.
Yeah.
I mean, another one,
there is.
Another one, animals. You know.
Yeah, I mean, animals pop up loads in all this sort of thing, though, don't they? They always have done. I mean, cats especially have always been sort of. There's been something spiritual about cats. Like they get ever since ancient Egyptians or whatever. You know, there's always been something with them.
That is super creepy. That the idea of them putting a Bible down, the cat just jumps straight on it and starts purring.
But is it supernatural?
Well, I'm not here to say it is or it isn't.
No,
I mean, it's,
all in all, if you look at it objectively, you've got a cat jumping onto a book and sitting down. Is that a supernatural occurrence, or is that just something that could occur quite naturally?
Well, I mean, to quote The Matrix, where some see consequence, some see coincidence, or I think I said that backwards. It's not really a quote.
But can't just, to quote Shakespeare, doth hath me if what? Yeah, you can't just throw words out, mate.
Well, it was right in the head and it came out wrong through the mouth.
Yeah, but so yeah, sorry, but go on. That's
no. Well, what I like about what she's written here is she actually had more or less a fucking exorcism done on her house, didn't she?
Yeah.
She had people come around and do shit. Now that could be like a psychosomatic thing, couldn't it?
Now can I propose a theory here without any offence being meant or anything? Yeah, just say she's already said she was in a weakened mental state, or she was physically, mentally drained, whatever. I mean, if you're physically drained, you're going to be mentally drained anyway as a consequence, right? So the brain, just like any other organ, when it's weakened, it's susceptible to sort of malfunctioning slightly. So she could well be more susceptible to outside influences, not necessarily be more spiritually attuned, but be more sort of just noticing the little things that she didn't notice before, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're in that frame of mind anyway, anything that happens coincidentally, like a cat sitting on the book, you know, when you're already in that frame of mind that something's going on, everything's going to start looking like a sign. Whereas if you came in with no prior knowledge of what was happening and you witnessed that event, you might be like, nothing strange about that.
Well, she did say in there that I'm going to call them nuns. I mean, it doesn't. I don't think she called them nuns in there, but they're from the church, and they're ladies. So
yeah,
they're nuns. Okay, so she did say the nuns went around the flat spraying the fucking holy liquids all over the places, and they told her which rooms stuff had actually happened in, which apparently she didn't say to the nuns. I mean. That's kind of cool.
Best, that's the best kind of evidence, isn't it? If someone goes without any kind of pre-warning. However, there's always, I'd want to know a lot more about the rooms in particular. You know, like were they particularly?
Oh yeah.
Did they have character features?
It was a 4-room flat.
Yeah, you know, how big was the place in total? But you know, was there any character features? Because character features can set the mind on a tilt anyway. You know, like you could have a big creepy fireplace or something like that. Have they got open beams and high roofs? Because that would automatically make anyone feel kind of uneasy the first time they walk in there, and it would be fairly easy for them to go in, pick up on the same sort of negative vibes of the room in general, and be like, oh, we didn't like that room, we didn't like that room, for exactly the same reason that she's assuming that she's had a paranormal experience in there, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Well, okay. And what do you suppose it's that they're just charlatans and it's guesswork? Because she also said about them What did she say? Had opened my senses by messing with black magic and told me to stay away from them. They bring the spirits in here and they get trapped. Yeah, she didn't mention but from what I read here, she didn't mention that she'd been to mediums, which, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean...
Louise. Right.
Yeah,
I'll be taking the piss out of you at work for...
Come along, Louise. Anyway.
Come along.
Yeah, I mean,
Shame!
I'm by no means saying that she's lying or I don't believe her. I'm just throwing out possible objections, and that's pretty hard to object to.
Yeah.
I mean, other than pure coincidence, but I mean, it's possible auto-suggestion, isn't it? You know, you've been messing with black magic, so straight away you start thinking like, oh, what black magic have I been messing with? Oh, and if you haven't
been messing with black, I didn't realise she was a fucking voodoo princess.
Well,
Not princess, wrong one. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it is quite.
But it's still.
I reckon that we should do is after lockdown and everything like that. Well, after everything goes back to normal, we all get together and spend the night in a haunted location.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm so game for that.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
So up for it.
And I know Zach will. I know Zach will.
Zach's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm well up for that. I'm well up for that.
Oh shit, my pants. But yeah, I'm super up for that. Actually, the big comment that you've got on your screen, they told me about there's like a haunted stay in a prison or something.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure of the details, but I'll find out because that sounds fucking brilliant.
Do you know what would be really interesting? Would be if you could have the same location with the same sort of conditions, and us four spend a night in it. Yeah. And we get hold of a local ghost hunting team to spend a night at the same location and compare sort of notes and things like that. I mean, I don't know any ghost hunting team, so I don't think we'd be able to do it, but it would be really interesting.
I might do.
Wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
I might
you
do.
Do
I
you,
don't know
Jeeves?
if he still does it, but I might do.
Ooh, well, there you go. Here's a little shout out to all the ghost hunters out there. Get in contact with us. We'd quite like to do an experiment. We've got us 4 cynics. I mean, Rambo's not here right now. We would love to stay in a haunted location, and obviously you guys stay in the haunted location either the day before or the day after. Probably the day before would be better.
Actually, my friend Grant over at Paranormal Afterlife on Facebook, check him out. He's an ex paranormal investigator, so I could speak to him, see if he knows anyone that would be up for that. That would be quite interesting. Yeah,
it would. And yeah, that's a great Versus video as well. I'd be well up for putting that together. Yeah, what a fantastic idea, Jeeves. You should. We'll leave that in your capable hands to arrange, shall we?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm game. I'm really game.
Yeah, he's such a smug little chimp, isn't he? Look.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll definitely do that. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, it's not happening.
I've been drawing a picture as well while we've been doing this as well.
You what? Sorry.
I've been drawing a picture while we've been talking about this as well.
Well, we've been wondering what you've been fucking doing. Is that a dirtberry?
Dirtberry.
Love it. I am. Again, I don't have any artistic flair, so I'm unable to enter into the competition. But do you know what do you want to know what my idea for my t-shirt was while we're looking at your dirtberry? Is for some reason I had talked myself into believing that it wasn't a dirtberry, that it was a groundberry, and I wanted a picture of the old-fashioned meat grinders. Yeah. Someone forcing berries into one of them and a potato popping out the other end. But yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really, really confusing unless you'd explained it.
Well, I have explained it.
Yeah, I know. But if you'd have just submitted that as a t-shirt idea, I think you possibly should.
I'm not submitting a t-shirt.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Right. That was a tangent, wasn't it? So.
Should we take a quick? But I think because I've got one more on my phone, and then there's the Barry and the big one. which I haven't got.
Sounds like an amazing act on Britain's Got Talent or something. Barry and the Big One.
Barry the Big One. Yeah.
Oh, Barry, I can't wait. I can't wait for the big one, man. I cannot wait. Right, we'll be back in probably less than a second. And in that blink of an eye, we've come up with a fairly solid plan. I think what we're thinking of doing is Jeeves is going to have a look and find a location. Me and Sam and Zach are going to be kept in the dark, so we can't do any research into it. And then we're going to organise a stay over at that location, and we can do all our research into the ghost stories and that after we've stayed there. That's the plan, yeah?
Yeah.
That would. I'm so up for that. But what I would like to do, and again, I don't know how up for you this you guys are, because in the last episode I was very clear about not wanting to tempt fate, but I would definitely want to do a Ouija board, especially if it's in some sort of creepy haunted location. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm down.
Yeah,
you're down.
Yeah,
that sounds like the worst. That sounds like the biggest no yes I've ever heard.
The problem is...
See, the problem with Andy, he's saying yes, his arsehole is saying no.
The problem is, whilst, like I say, I'm not a believer, but I'm not a believer, if you know what I mean. And I do think there is a certain amount of tempting fate. That sort of thing makes me a little bit nervous, if I'm going to be honest.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, but I'll do it.
Okay. Jeeves, we've got to leave this in your capable hands to arrange that. Yeah. But I'm really up for that. I think we should. We'll have to wait a little while until the main season's over for you boys, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
In order to get all you available ones. And besides, winter's better anyway. It's darker for longer, which definitely makes things scarier.
Yeah, that's true.
And there'll be kit and stuff that'll be required, won't there? So,
and with it being such a momentous occasion, with it being a sort of filmed event, so to speak, outside of these four walls, we're going to need a decent episode name for it. And I think it's fair to open that to comments and stuff like that if you can. If you've got any suggestions, chuck them in.
Yeah, and also if you've got suggestions of places that are particularly haunted that might actually let us do this little experiment, please get in touch. We're thinking more likely to be on the Isle of Wight than anywhere else because it's only one person has to travel over then.
I've just had an idea about possibly doing it live on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, we've spoken about this, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into making it live, and I mean, if it's overnight, that's like a that's like a 12-hour stream. That's asking for quite a lot. Also, don't necessarily want to shit myself live.
Well, you're not editing it out.
Yeah, you're not editing
No. I think if you've watched the previous episodes, I don't edit a lot of myself being a fucking idiot. Someone shared our video the other day when I sprayed water in my eye.
Yeah, we were all suffering from heat stroke there, though. So,
I know that was bad. Yeah, I don't want to be fucking looking at ghosts in a bloody heat wave either. That would be shit.
Yeah, well, hopefully it shouldn't be too warm at night. But
no. I imagine it'll be freezing cold.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, I know. Hopefully, at the end of it, we all come out either non-believers or believers.
There, you've raised an interesting point. Actually, if I can divulge a little bit on that, is the temperature, because that's another thing that affects the way you think. It's a very well known and documented effect of like hypothermia and severe stages of hypothermia, where the brain gets confused and starts thinking it's hot. And they often find a lot of climbers that have died by natural causes and that in various stages of undress because the brain's suddenly assuming that they're hot. And so temperature can trick the brain as well.
And heat and dehydration, you see oases, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the brain's a lot more fragile than it, and I'm not saying that everyone that's written in with stories is mental. What I'm saying is it is possible in my head it is a possible solution that hallucinations have happened or something along those lines, or the brain has been tricked into seeing something that wasn't there.
Yeah, well, very much. Currently, I'm a skeptic. I mean, very much enjoying hearing people's recounts of tales and stuff. And fucking, frankly, I'm glad that shit doesn't happen to me. I sleep easy at night because nobody touches me and calls out my name.
That's the other thing. Like that, I have to hands up and say I don't understand. That is the feeling the palm of someone's hand on her back. I think that was the first question, the first comment. That I offer no real explanation for that.
No, and it's not the only one. I've got another example. Somebody who actually, one of my friends, messaged me again, and a functioning member of society. She's credible. She sent me a bunch, but she made it clear. She's like, all of these happened when I was younger. I've only had one experience when I was an adult, which she didn't want to talk about because it really genuinely upset her. But yeah, she did say so. In fact, I can read them out if you like. Hang on. Blah, blah, blah. Where are we? Let me just quickly load this back up. Be that one there. Okay, you ready? I'll read these out. Okay, when I was little, we lived in an old house in Shirley Road. She lives in Southampton. I used to play on the stairs and regularly saw a tall, dark figure at the top of the stairs. Only in later life, I mentioned it to Mum, and she said, "Oh yeah, man at the top in the top hat and tails." Totally shit myself then. So that's another one, seeing weird things, but, backed up by her mum. Also, in that house, occasionally you'd see a reflection of an old lady in a kitchen window. Several other non-family members saw her too. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. You imagine you just fucking walking by and you see someone's fucking reflection. Whew. Not sure I can remember any others as a child. Oh yeah, it says apparently as a child I was very receptive to them. Now I get nasty chills and won't hang around just in case she sees anything. And the other one, was when she was a grown up and didn't want shared. So I'll keep that one on the DL. But yeah, imagine that. Just walking past and you see a reflection of somebody caught in the fucking mirror, like Drell off of Superman, trapped inside. Yeah, I'd be tempted to break it, but then, I mean, what if they got out? Ooh.
Yeah, what if you let them out? Fuck no, just hang a fucking big white sheet over it. If Hollywood's taught me anything, it's a big white sheet hides everything.
Yeah, or a green one. It's all green now, isn't it? Green sheets hide everything.
Yeah. You see, that's the sort of thing I love, the corroborated evidence. That's hard to dispute, isn't it? When you get one person says, "Oh yeah, I saw this," fair enough. You get several people. I mean, a real skeptic would go down the routes of what's it called? It's like mass hypnosis sort of thing.
Oh yeah, mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria, that's the one. Yeah, where the idea that an idea in itself can be catching. And there have been documented cases of it, normally with crying or screaming or something like that, occasionally laughing.
Yeah. But the Slender Man as well. People swear until the internet that no one really had heard of it, and then all of a sudden everyone started sharing their stories of the Slender Man. All the accounts were similar, and it was always around certain ages and age groups.
Yeah, teenage girls.
Now, do you know where teenage girls also play a heavy part? I'm waiting for it. Come on. No? All right. Poltergeist activity. The majority of poltergeist activity happens to girls from around puberty age upwards.
God. Look forward to that with Daisy then. Well, fucking cupboards will get opened.
Which again could be down to being emotionally more vulnerable, but it's strange that every time there's poltergeist activity and there's normally a teenage girl involved somewhere.
Well, the problem is with poltergeist activity is shit's actually happening. There's physical stuff happening, isn't it? You know, it's like there's 50 cats in a room just knocking shit off of shelves. You know, I mean, and we've had cats mentioned a few times, you know, this evening with all of the the cat stuff that's been mentioned.
Yeah, but shady science time. I was watching.
Yeah.
I was reading an article the other day about scientists have witnessed for the first time like an atomic kick, which is when you get right down to the base level of what's the smallest thing, the smallest particle, the smallest sort of things. This
Neutrinos?
is very shady science. Possibly, yeah. When they pop in and out of existence, they create an energy kick, right? Like a quantum kick. And that kick is so powerful, it can move objects like thousands of times its size. The problem is it's very thermally insufficient. So it's the slightest deviation in temperature from when it's created will nullify it. But what they've done is they've managed to recreate one of these kicks in a room, in a complete thermally sealed room, vacuumed, and they've witnessed it move an object slightly, only by like a fraction of a millimeter, but they've witnessed the object move just from this kick. And so it is possible that occasionally the room temperature stays the same long enough just for one of these kicks to happen. Maybe. I don't know. Shady science.
I've never heard of such a thing. But I mean, it only takes a millimeter for something to not fall over, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If the balance point is perfect, all you have to do is move it a slightly bit, and all of a sudden its balance is gone.
Can I just say something that's probably best not put into the podcast or into the actual YouTube video?
Well, I can't guarantee that, Jeeves, but carry on.
It's to do with our workplace.
Oh, definitely. Okay, I'll cut that.
No, I've just typed in haunted locations, Isle of Wight, and the first thing that popped up is Lower Hyde Holiday Park.
We could do that place. Where's that creepy bit that you were talking about the other day?
The main
the key holder.
Yeah, the main complex. We could do that.
Oh, I mean, that's got to be the easiest one to do, hasn't it?
Yeah. The problem is, no, that would have to be winter because during season there's cleaners in every night.
Well, winter's winter, isn't it? I mean, maybe we could do 2 locations.
Yeah, I'm up for that during winter though.
Yeah, of course. Well, as I say, I did suggest when the season was over because getting Rambo here is hard enough.
Yeah.
Let alone getting all 3 of us in the same location at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ knows what Boris would think about that. 3 separate bubbles? Ah! You're seeing orbs all over the shot. Fucking brilliant.
Okay, so that's a plan then.
That's handy, isn't it? Boom. I mean, we've got one location straight off.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to read that big beast out then?
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I can do. Right. This is from Bex Barker. Thank you very much, Bex. Cheers. Right. Hey, Sam and friends. Not keen on the start of that, to be fair. It kind of makes it sound like sidekicks, doesn't it?
Go fuck yourself, Coffee.
Don't go fuck yourself. Thanks for the comment. Right. Hey, Sam and friends. Okay, so I knew something was up from a younger age, but when I was 14, my family moved from Surrey to the Isle of Wight, where we took over a Victorian B&B called the Brunswick Hotel in Ventnor. Free plug there. You don't ask a thing for that. As I'm very sensitive, sensory-wise.
Stay there and film fucking.
Oh yeah, we might have to stay over at some point. As I'm very sensitive sensory-wise, I immediately started noticing things, and I never felt settled, safe, or relaxed at home. Some areas of the building were worse than others, and I was very aware that some of the presences felt were unwelcome. I was often pinched on the 3rd floor around room 1 and 2, or the 1st floor, sorry, around room 1 and 2, and I would run up the stairs like crazy and was genuinely terrified. My youngest brother was around 9 at this point, and at one point told my parents one of our guests had wandered into the kitchen smartly dressed and had long white gloves on. They just thanked us and played it cool, but we had no guests in. We assumed this was the old butler. Assumptions there. Over time, I would wake up to my bed having been moved away from the wall, or photographs that were on the wall being slightly singed. That's interesting. My then best friend would often stay over, and we would be spooked by this. By the time I was 16, I would go into the only rentable room on the top floor near our personal area to get some privacy from my sister whenever we had no guests in there. I was aware of a presence in that room, and although I was anxious about it, I was very aware it was a curious and not unkind, like some of our resident spooks. I have always woken multiple times at night. My Fitbit catches them. And I will never forget my first proper concrete sighting. It was in this room, and I woke in the night and light from street lamps were visible. It was dark, but not too dark to see. I adjusted quickly, and there, maybe 5-6 inches from my face, was a mist in small concentrated area. I was absolutely terrified and rooted in place. I was sure it was just curious and wanted to make contact. I could feel it sensing my fear, and this encounter faded in time. It can't have been a long time, but felt like it. It faded, and I lay awake until I was calm enough to settle. The B&B was opposite a spiritualist church, and often we had people stay for conventions. I found out years later that some guests had seen me before school one day, and told my mum I had a gift, but she had not told me in fear of making things worse. Right, do you want to discuss that first bit? There's still a bit more. Or do you want me to forge on?
I want to hear more. So
Okay,
that's quite enjoying that. Yeah,
right.
Go for it all. You can always reference back, can't we?
We moved a year later to the old Admiral's house, which had been divided into 4 flats. I crammed a futon into the huge cupboard at the top of the stairs, where there was nothing else. The rest of the flat was down the stairs, as the property was lower than the road. So I would hear family members come in and out, up and down the stairs. Like most families, I knew by the steps and noises who it was. By now I was 17 and still sensing a lot in this property too. One night I was up listening to music well past midnight when I heard footsteps coming up our wide steps. I couldn't figure out who it was, and it was too dark to see through the cut glass panels either side of the door. So I waited, and as it usually goes, there was a knock on my bedroom door. As usual, I called out to come in, and as usual, because the door was stiff and had to be turned hard, it rattled a moment before turning. But longer than usual, and it was painstakingly turned around and abruptly pulled outwards, as if pulled to reveal no one. There was nowhere to hide, and I could see down the stairs. I shat my pants! Exclamation mark.
I would too. Oh my God.
I was frozen in horror, but managed to reach my mobile phone, call our landline, which was in the hall down the stairs, maybe 30 feet from me, and heard Dad come out of his bedroom and answer. Up he came to get me and calm me down, and on their room I slept for a good few days. And in their room, maybe. We had a local spiritual lady around to bless the house, and nothing further happened to terrify me, but I still felt presences and was unsettled until I finally moved out a year later. Boom. What a comment.
Oh, that is, what a fucking great comment. Thanks, Bex. That's amazing.
Yeah, cheers for that. That's awesome. Yeah, so,
imagine that. Come in, someone opens your fucking door, there's nothing. Oh.
Interesting to notice the age that it started at as well. I mean, I know, that age, moving into an old location like that straight away, it's not a great set of environment, is it?
No. Have you noticed any common themes that have been popping up here?
In terms
converted old places?
Yeah.
Converted old places. Everyone seems to have been young, Danielle excluded. Actually, the first two, neither of them said that they were teenagers when it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah,
another thing about the age, the young things. I don't know how old any of these people that have commented are now, currently, today.
Okay.
But obviously, when you remember things, you're not remembering something. You're recreating it as you remember it. If you know what I mean, your brain is recreating the scene in your head. and it's been proven that that can be altered as well. A lot of things can influence the way you remember things. Like they did an experiment with kids where they grew up telling them that they had a basement, even though they never had a basement. And when they were older, the kids would swear blind, yeah, we had a basement, but then they'd add their own details to it. It'd be like, yeah, they had a basement because I remember I used to go down there and I had to fetch wood for the boiler and stuff like that. When in reality, none of it happened. So, yeah, the Mandela effect. But like, it is possible to, if you're already in a state of thinking, remembering it like in terror or whatever you're feeling, your brain could just remember it a little bit worse every single time, like Chinese whispers.
Oh, 100%. But I imagine certain things would stick. You know, like I've said it before, like the day Lady Diana died or the day the Twin Towers, certain things, the details will remain. It's like when massive acts of trauma happen, you'll just remember, it doesn't look like a hog hair brush.
No, it's just a comb.
Wow. Your beardy friend won't be happy, will
Ow! Shit. Sorry, I had to get that out. It was annoying me.
Yeah, massive acts of trauma tend to stick fairly quickly, though, don't they? Things that, you know, and I would imagine, like the waking up and seeing mist in front of you, no idea about that. I mean, I presume it wasn't just really cold. But
it's waking up again.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, being asleep seems to be a common theme, or not asleep as the case may be. But I still, someone knocking on your door, yanking it open, and no one being there. Woo.
Yeah, that's a combination of stuff, isn't it? If it was just a door flying open, you could argue breezes, you could argue wonky hinges, you could argue anything really.
Yeah.
If it was just a knock, you could argue pipes.
Yeah.
If it was just a door handle rattling, I don't know what you'd fucking say, but yeah, all of them happening together, that's when it starts getting a bit more believable, doesn't it? That's when it starts getting a bit more difficult to debunk without just flat out saying you're lying. Because I don't think people would. I think obviously people do lie about it, but what's the point? If you know what I mean. Why would you lie?
There's nothing to gain. I don't think there's anything to gain from lying about things like this,
No.
personally. And it doesn't strike me as you know.
No, but
it feels like she's literally just recounting the experiences.
Yeah.
But oh God, I couldn't, honestly, I just can't imagine what it would be like to be, because didn't she say somebody said she had a gift?
Yeah, or no, yes, was it that one that someone told her parents that she had a gift?
Yeah,
they didn't want to tell her.
Spiritual church. I mean, I wouldn't fucking tell my kids that. I mean, I suppose if like my kids were seeing ghosts on a regular basis and they were basically waking me up in the middle of the night because they were seeing ghosts, I might let it slip and be like, oh yeah, you're really sensitive to ESPN. It's not ESPN either, is it? That's a sports channel.
You're really sensitive to to watching basketball on Sky.
Essentially. Oh, it's ESP? Extrasensory perception?
That's the one, yeah.
So yeah, not ESPN, sorry. ESPN, I don't know what you are. You're some sport.
Go Jets!
Go sports! I mean, I'm very open to believing that people are really, really. Some people are just open to seeing shit that's not there. I mean, if cats and dogs can fucking see it means that they're. It doesn't mean. I like to think that there is something out there, but I have no proof. But it's been amazing hearing all of these accounts from so many different people, from so many different walks of life and so many different locations. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between them all. And this was all of this pre-internet as well. All of the accounts, bar the first one, every account that I've read out and that you've just read out was all pre-readily available internet. So it's not like the Slender Man bullshit that Jeeves was touched upon earlier, where it's just kids playing around on Reddit or whatever. Where do kids hang out? I don't know where kids hang out on the internet. We need Jeeves.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all pre that, and there are a lot of similarities between them, aren't there?
Yeah, there really are.
Ages, locations, gender, weirdly.
Yeah. Another thing,
I mean,
another thing to take into account. Have you ever heard of Phantasmagoria?
isn't that a movie?
That's Phantasm.
Then no.
Phantasmagoria is a medical condition where you see ghosts.
Okay. Elaborate.
Which kind of, it could, in theory, debunk everyone's ghost story. But it's a very rare condition, and I don't believe for a minute that everyone that's had an experience has this disease.
Could that not mean, what you say it could debunk, could that not also prove? I mean, if there's a condition that people have that they see ghosts, is it not possible that ghosts exist, but we can't see them because we don't have this condition?
Well, now you're asking the real questions. Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible either way around, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's our duty as reporters, as journalistic peers.
Definitely not that. Bullshitters. Yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, I've never heard of that before, but if it's a genuine thing, James, Google, stop drawing.
I wasn't.
Stop diddling yourself.
No, he was thumbing his belly button on his other camera.
I was cleaning out my PowerPoint on my phone.
I love the fact that we've got all your attention. Right. You're worse. What are you doing? Oh, I was literally making love to my phone. Like that movie Jexy.
Do you want to plug me in?
There you go.
Now unplug me.
What?
You heard me, Phil. Unplug me.
Okay.
Now plug me back in.
Why?
Just fucking plug me back in, Phil.
Okay.
Now unplug me. Plug me. Unplug me. Yes. Oh, hell. Yes. Right there, Phil.
Wait, are we having sex?
Yes, but I promise. I won't get pregnant. Come on, Phil. Plug. Unplug. Plug. Unplug.
Yeah, I don't know how comfortable I feel doing this.
Look at me, Phil. Look right at my camera hole. Am I your dirty little phone, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that I am your dirty little phone, Phil.
Your dirty little phone.
That is so hot, Phil. Keep talking.
I'm gonna fill your ports with electricity.
Oh, fuck, yes.
Just voltage.
Yes.
Coursing through your case.
Yes. Oh, fuck. Here it comes. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Oh, my fucking God. Orgasm.
About what just happened?
No. Put me down. And do not say anything for 15 minutes.
God, plug me in. Faster, faster, faster.
James, just out of curiosity, what's the subject tonight?
Formula One, innit?
Cock.
Sports. It's all about the sports.
That's it.
ESPN.
Being attuned to ESPN.
Yeah, tune into ESPN. Love it. Yeah, sorry. Jeeves, Google that thing, Moose, you said, please.
About the medical condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phantasmagoria or something like that. It's delicious.
What did you say the condition was?
Phantasmagoria.
Brilliant. Formula One, you say?
It's also a great song by an old 80s metal band as well. I can't remember who.
I imagine he's got it in front of him.
Phantasmagoria. Yeah, it's really good.
Hmm.
You got it?
No, that's a different medical condition.
Is that a karambit in your hand or a knuckle duster? Karambit. Is that how you say it? Very nice.
I just call it a sharp thing. It's not very nice because the very first thing I did, where it's got the knuckle loop, I spun it around on my hand and it just stuck in my wrist. I was like, oh, it's quite sharp. This is why I can't have nice things.
Well, the legend Doug Markida from the TV show Forged in Fire wears one of them on his belt because he's a martial artist and does all the testing. He's the guy who goes, "It will kill." I don't know if you've seen it, but if you have, that's kind of his catchphrase. And yeah, if you look closely on his belt, all of the judges, they all wear a knife on their belt because they're Americans and legends. But yeah, he wears one of them.
Cool.
And I've seen him use one because they made him make them once, and it was quite impressive to watch, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Deadly. Absolutely deadly. I would never want to trifle with somebody who could fuck with one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't drop it. It's attached around your finger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For demonstrative purposes.
Yeah, yeah. And while we're waiting for Jesus to Google. Honestly, what's happening? I think he made up some bullshit. What is Phantasmagoria? Here's what I Phantasmagoria is a form of horror theatre used by one or more magic lanterns to project frightening images such as skeletons, demons and ghosts onto walls, smoke or semi-transparent screens, typically use rear projection. See, I have a different definition on the Apple Watch.
Right.
I think we've just... Mooshi's been bullshitting!
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, I might have been.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I'm sure there is something where I'm sure there is a condition where you see dead people or ghosts or imaginary people or something along those lines.
Well, you see, that's something he can look up in the background, isn't it? Is there a condition that people see ghosts with? I mean, it's accurate, doesn't it? Incidentally, I stole this lighter. I'd just like to point this out because some of my friends definitely don't watch and haven't even acknowledged the existence of this podcast. So I stole this lighter from them so I could show it on the podcast, and knowing that they definitely aren't going to watch it.
That's genius. You should hide stuff of theirs and just like plug the answers in the podcast.
It's a really good one. Look at this.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
I know, right? Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna put it on the podcast just because I know you ain't gonna fucking watch it.
Absolutely.
So that's the new game, people. Yeah, your friends who have renounced all acknowledgement of the fact that you do this, steal something of theirs and show it in next week's.
Brilliant. Right, have we got another comment?
Yeah, well, I feel like we got one more. The only bloke who commented. Sorry, I have to find it because I forgot to screenshot it.
Is this Barry and the Big One?
2 seconds. It's not Barry the Big One. It's Barry and the Big One. The Big One was what you just read out.
Yeah.
Right, Barry Eads. When I was 12, I was in bed late one night and a captain bed. Oh, it was a captain bed. What's a captain bed? Does anybody know?
Is that one of the ones with the like posts with the coverings over? It's like a 4-poster, but with the canopy.
It's got. It says, "I was in a captain." Oh, maybe it's cabin bed.
Could be a cabin bed.
Because that would have a ladder, wouldn't it? Anyway, when I was 12, I was in bed late at night. It was a cabin bed, and the ladder shook for a few moments. Everybody was downstairs. I didn't see it. I was frozen with fear for a moment, then rushed down the ladder and ran downstairs to my parents. That's literally all it says.
Just to interrupt, a captain bed is like a bunk bed, but the lower bunk is like a desk or chest of drawers or something like that.
Then it's a captain bed, not a cabin bed. Do I need to reread it and say captain?
No, that's fine.
Well, I've just typed in a captain's bed, and it's an all bed that has the top drawer underneath it, pulls out another mattress, and then you have some drawers underneath that one.
Is this just fucking prove
Mooshu
wrong evening or what? Fuck off.
I typed in cabin, and the cabin bed had a ladder going up to it.
Yeah, but so would the one with the desk. Does it matter? He's basically in a bunk bed.
No.
He's in a fucking bunk bed, boys. He had a ladder.
No, this is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. Yeah, go back to your fucking drawings. You've been no use this evening.
I'll tell you what. Put some pressure on Sam. Sam, put a picture of the correct answer up there now. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. I can do that. How does he do it? Every single time it just looks perfect. It's like he wears the same clothes and he's done that so many times. It's muscle memory.
The eyes.
Okay, so what do you think about that one then? I assume that's not what you think about it.
Was
so
that the whole
he was
one,
in bed. Yeah, it was very short, not very detailed. But I mean, typically, that is, in my opinion, very much a manly response. Yeah, I had a ghostly experience.
Read it again. Just assume for an instant that I was actually busy researching different types of furniture instead of listening to the story.
Are you ready?
Yes.
When I was 12, I was in bed late one night. It was a captain bed and the ladder shook for a few moments. Everybody was downstairs and I didn't see what did it. I was frozen with fear for a moment and then I rushed down the ladder, ran downstairs to my parents.
Okay. So, yeah, I would say that's a fairly typical sort of nightmare scenario, isn't it? You know, like you're in a bed which is raised off the ground. Automatically, you're going to worry about what's underneath it or what's at the bottom of the ladder. It's like the ancient primal fear of depths and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, talking about this is going to... For a long time, I've always had divan beds because now it's getting underneath them. You know, there's literally no worry of there being anything underneath your bed when there's no underneath of your bed, is there?
I've never been worried about that. It's never concerned me. I'm one of those people. I'll sleep with feet hanging over the bed. No, if anything wants to hide underneath my bed, good luck to it.
Hang on, are you trying to tell me that you sleep with your feet over the edge of your bed?
Yeah, a lot of the time.
I can do.
I'm really tall and I don't do that. I sleep at an angle. Oh, I don't like it. No, don't like that one a little bit.
That doesn't bother me.
Did you not see Friday the 13th when you were 7? Oh, maybe that's just my weird childhood.
No, I saw that. I saw that when I was quite young.
Where I want to say Val Kilmer, where Val Kilmer gets an arrow put through his chest.
Is that when he's in bed?
The arrow just goes through the bed and straight through his chest after he's... Yeah, just after shagging like a lifeguard or something.
Yeah, worth it.
In the camp? No? Yeah,
totally
you see
worth
that?
It.
I think worth it, yeah. You see, I think that there might have been one of the things that put me off of having that kind of bed once it was my choice. That is.
But let me put forward a possible solution for this, right?
Yeah.
I've been on when I used to stay at my grandparents' house in Coventry, God bless them, they used to have bunk beds and my brother was too tall for them, so I used to have the bunk beds to myself and I always used to sleep on the top. And they were...
Really?
Yeah, because I was a lot more scared about someone peering over from the top than I was about someone underneath me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. That's much creepier.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Jesus' face just nearing over.
But the centre of the balance of the steps on it was slightly off and it wasn't screwed in terribly well, so the slightest movement on my part would make the ladder wobble.
Movement.
Yeah, that was impossible, mate. The walls were so thin. God. Yeah, but all it would take is like a slight shift in my body and the ladder would rattle like someone was on it, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So that's a possible explanation, because that sort of thing as a kid, you don't think about the physics of it all. You just think like, why is the ladder rattling? You know?
No, I agree. I actually reading that one again. Thank you very much for your comment, Barry. It's all input is well received, but that could have just been a fucking train going by and vibrating your house a little bit. As Mushy said, it could have just been a loose screw. It could have been jerking off. I don't know. Not wanting to look at Jesus, like that's what it was for me. Yeah, I mean, it could have been loads of different things. That's not quite as creepy as, you know, fucking facing the window. That's a window cleaner. or a cat's arsehole walking around corners. I mean, you guys who have commented, you've had some seriously creepy experiences. That
I mean, do you need a litter tray for that?
Huh?
You wouldn't have to feed it, which is great, but do you need a litter tray for it?
Well, I mean, it's not eat it. I mean, I don't think ghost... Is that where white dog shit comes from? Ghost dogs.
Doesn't exist anymore.
It does. I saw one the other day. I was going out to my friend's house in a really nice area. It turns out it's just in posh areas.
Okay.
The same night I accrued this little bad boy.
We're slowly working out the victim's identity, aren't we?
No. Someone visiting. I feel a bit bad, but I mean, it's nice light when he told me he stole it in the first place. So, boom.
Boom.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they see this, they can have it back.
Looks like it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I find a rattling ladder a lot less unsettling than seeing, like someone creepy moving behind me. Like, because we're talking about it, we're thinking about it a lot. Can you see the shadow behind Jeeves' head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep expecting to see a fucking Peter Pan situation. It just come away and start talking. He moves his head and it stays still and just goes. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. But yeah, I am. So I've run out of comments from people. I really, again, a massive thank you to everybody who bothers to watch actually, and has sent comments and your experiences in.
Yeah, I have to say I've really enjoyed tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I found it quite fun, like dissecting people's comments. I didn't mean any offence, and I'm not casting doubt on anyone. I'm just a very critical thinker, and I like playing both sides of the fence.
There's been ones that you've not been able to say about though, is there? Like any that people have been able to back up. I mean, the door opening one for Bex, that was a pretty good one because she called her old man, and there was no way that somebody could have got down the stairs. That's a creepy one. The people being touched in their sleep, that's super creepy, and not hugely explainable. Unless of course Jeeves is in town, and then people's getting touched left, right, and centre. Yeah. It's been an interesting one. I very much appreciate it.
I would love to say, like, keep comments coming. And let us do another one of these. Not just about paranormal stuff, but about anything we've done an episode on. We'll always address comments because it's actually quite good fun.
Yeah, it's much more interesting, particularly when Jesus is sitting there drawing. and it's inspired us to do an excellent, hey, 1 point to me. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's given us an idea of something genuinely fun and interesting. Well, I say genuinely fun, it could be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it might be the worst thing we've ever done.
Yeah, I'm so up for doing oh god, can you guys hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking annoying. It's the neighbour's washing machine. It's so loud.
Fucking hell.
It's definitely time to wrap this bitch up because I can't hear myself.
Okay then. Right. Well, thanks a lot again for all the comments and everything. Obviously, by now Jeeves' world famous catchphrase. Go on, Jeeves.
Like and subscribe.
So fucking depressing. So depressing.
And there he is.
Oh God.
Every time you look back just in time. Hello.
Oh, who's that?
Bailey.
It's a ghost.
No, it's Bailey. He's going to fuck you.
And
oh dear, right.
I have to say it, Kevin Costner's a legend.
I was just going to say it. It's going to be like, guess what you forgot to say.
No, you're not beating me to it.
Porno yet?
No, but I will do.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, but I did find. I found. Will do. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for watching. We will be back soon, and please, any budding artists out there, send us your design for t-shirts.
And they may well appear on the merch.
Still
store.
Running.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, currently Jesus has just done one.
Thank you very much.